Hey, what's going on, Boise State fans? Welcome to the YouTube channel here, Bronco Nation News. Bronco Nation News Live special edition. BJ Rains with you, and we get a chance to catch up with an old friend who you've been hearing for a while here in Boise on the airwaves, and you're going to get a special treat to see him on your TV set on Friday night as he is on the call on CBS Sports Network with Danny Cannell for Boise State at New Mexico on the CBS Sports Network, 7 o'clock kickoff in Boise. Chris Lewis. Chris, appreciate your time, buddy. How's it going?
Hey, doing all right. Appreciate you having me on. Excited. I mean, it's my first Boise State football game, which, is special for me for obvious reasons. And there's plenty of storylines going into this one, maybe more than I would have thought when I knew I was doing this game a few weeks back.
Yeah, I mean, you've done some basketball games, a couple of them. One you were supposed to do that got canceled an hour before tip-off. You got that big Colorado State game, I know, on the road last year to finish the regular season. But Chris, I've seen you in the press box where we're in the food room eating, and you said, "Oh, well, I'm up on the roof calling the game," and you've been up. You've worked really hard to get to this point. Like I said, on your own, not getting paid, just on the roof, broadcasting into a tape recorder to get practice. And here you are on national TV getting a call at Boise State football game. It's pretty cool, man. Congratulations. And what has the journey been like for you to reach this point?
Well, thank you. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of really hot games early in the season, really cold games late in the season. You're on the roof of the press box. I've had some fantastic color announcers who just volunteered their time to help me out there to make it seem as professional as possible. So it's part of the grind. And you just know going into the industry, that like you're going to take a lot of low paying jobs, you're going to take a lot of internships, and then you're going to have to do extra stuff that goes beyond what the pay of the job is to put yourself in a position to be appealing for the next opportunity. And I mean, there's nothing like football. And you can call all the basketball games, you can call all the volleyball games, you can call all the softball games, but nothing really replicates having that valuable football tape to send out not just to employers and people who are at other schools for the next opportunity there, but to send to other broadcasters to get that feedback to say, hey, you're not doing this enough, or you're how about you mix in a little bit of this, or you're doing this well, keep doing that. So like to get that feedback and to have the opportunity to send something to people when these football and basketball jobs open. That's why you kind of take those opportunities to go up on the roof. So, I mean, I enjoy it all. I just love doing play-by-play. I love sports broadcasting. So it doesn't usually feel like work. Football is a whole different beast when it comes to preparation. It's a whole different beast when it comes to coverage. Like there's so many people like you and all the other great reporters throughout the Mountain West, not to mention throughout the country, who put out so much information about football specifically that you really do feel like you're working at an information surplus. So it's like, okay, what do you use? What do you want to put on your board? What kind of communication do you want to have with the producer and your color announcer and sideline reporter? What storylines take priority? So it's fun. It's a different beast, though.
Well, we just got to get a Bronco Nation News shout out somehow on the broadcast. Come on, Chris. I'm sure in the last month I've written some story you can pull some nugget for something, Chris. That's just all we're asking for. That was the agreement to get you to come on the show here. I mean, let's see what we can do. Come on, Chris.
Okay. BJ Rains of Bronco Nation News.
Yes.
He's the one who said that Hank Bachmeier should be the starter for this week,
I want full credit for that. You can even say that Andy Avila said he wasn't sure. He read the article on BroncoNationNews.com, and that's when the coaches decided, you know what? If Rains is saying it, yes, Hank Bachmeier should start on Saturday. No, all kidding aside, that you're right. There is a lot of information, a lot of different places, and you've got to have all of it because you never know if you're going to have a 24-23 barn burner, or if you're going to have last year's game against New Mexico was 37-0. So I mean, you never know, and you got to have all those stories and things in your back pocket. But how did you? I do want to ask about the game, but how did you get? I know you did the Olympics, right, for NBC Sports. Was that kind of your first national thing? I know you've been doing some NBC Sports football games as well, or at least last year you did. How did you kind of go from being the women's basketball Olympic sports announcer at Boise State to getting on national TV here, man?
It's a lot of sending a bunch of emails and sending a bunch of tapes to as many people as I can. And, from people at other schools to people who are in charge of hiring at different networks. A big part of it is how Boise State specifically has really grown their video broadcast department. I mean, BJ, you've been here, I think, 1 year longer than I've been in Boise. And to think of like what the broadcasts look like for soccer and volleyball and softball, what it looked like back in 2014 and 2013, and what it looks like now, it's such a drastic step. The multi-camera setup, the graphics package, the amount of work that the producers do and the director and everything like that. So the broadcasts of Boise State really do look professional because it is a professional operation, and it makes my tape look better when I send it out to different networks. It's funny, the first quote unquote national opportunity I had actually didn't come about. It was during that COVID 2020 season. And like that COVID break and stoppage was really hard because, the radio show I had went away. A lot of opportunities within sports went away. You didn't know you were having a sports season. So like that was the time where I actually took a teaching job at Capitol in River Glen as a video broadcasting teacher. But also with that extra time, I really went overdrive in sending out a lot of these emails and a lot of different contacts within these networks. The first opportunity I had was Colorado State, Utah State football game in Fort Collins that 2020 season, which was great. I was so hyped for it. And if you recall, that was the game where Utah State ended up boycotting the game with Frank Miley, who's now on the Boise State staff. That was crazy, where, there were comments by the university president and et cetera, and Utah State didn't want to finish out that season. So, yeah, I was so hyped, and I was like, all right, this is going to be my shot. And it turned out that game didn't happen. So it was disappointing at the time, but I knew, okay, just be patient. Opportunities will come. That summer, the Olympics opportunity opened up. More opportunities with CBS Sports Network the following season. So really the first break was a game that actually never even happened.
How about that?
And it turned out like, hey, I still prepped for it. I still, showcase the ability to, know how to approach a game, even though I didn't show the ability to broadcast the game because the game didn't happen.
Yeah, I was thinking someday maybe I'd write a book, and it would just be I was going to write, I'll write a book someday, and it's just going to be stories that never actually got printed. Because
Exactly,
there's so many game stories you write, and then something changes, the other team wins, or something changes, or a story that you hear about breaking news and you have it written, and then you never get it confirmed, and it never happens, or whatever. But I can't tell you how many times in the press box you're writing a game story, and it's a close game, and you got to write one version if they're winning, one version if you're losing. I've written more stories in my day that have not gotten published, maybe than I have that have gotten published. So maybe all the prep and the boards and everything from your games that have never happened might be something to have as well.
That wasn't a thing before COVID, where you'd have all these canceled games.
There's no way the game would ever get canceled.
That happened.
That's crazy. That is pretty crazy. But while we got you, man, I mean, we're just excited to have you on the call, and it's going to be fun. I'll have to listen back to it, obviously, on Saturday or Sunday, since I'll be in the press box. But what's your take on this matchup, man? Obviously, like you said, you joked, but we got nothing to talk about. Certainly the storylines of the Hank Bachmeier, Talon Green thing probably made things a little, I don't want to say easier, but added some juice for you guys on the broadcast, because that's the obvious storyline going in.
Yeah, it was just crazy watching the game on Saturday late night and seeing how that storyline played out. I mean, Hank Bachmeier, you profiled how much he was the guy going into the season, how he's primed for a big year, and the first 6 possessions don't go his way, and then all of a sudden Talon Green comes on, and Talon Green never leaves the field after that. It's his game the rest of the way. And now you lead to a situation where competition, and, from following mostly from the outside looking in, competition's been a key word that Andy Avalos has used. Like, he really wants competition, it seems, at every position. And it seems to now even seeped into that quarterback spot. So that's going to be something that gets a lot of attention. But for Boise State, I also think that the ground game not being effective in game one is another story. George Halani didn't really get loose. I think his longest carry was like 5 yards. When you're going under 1 yards per carry, that's not what the standard of Boise State is. And The standard is another offseason thing. We got to get back to the standard. You heard that quite a bit from Boise State side of things, and that game one certainly didn't showcase that. On the
No.
side of New Mexico, they played an FCS opponent, Maine, but did what they're supposed to do. Shut them out, 41-0. They're excited about this defense. Rocky Long taking over as the defensive coordinator now, running that 3-3-5. They have the ability to put together a solid defense. And for the first game, at least, the offense came to play as well, especially in that second quarter. So, Boise State is the favorite for a reason, but there's a lot of intrigue to see how this will all go about in Albuquerque, a place where Boise State's had a lot of success.
Yeah, for all the talk, you're right. For all the talk about Green and Bachmeyer, I mean, to have George Helani, who all they did was say all week they're going to unleash him and no pitch count, he's never coming off the field and all this, to have 13 carries for 9 yards. I think 7 of his 13 carries were for 0 or negative yardage. I mean, it's just and then even Ashton Genty didn't do a whole lot. 25 combined rushing yards from those two guys is just crazy. And the O-line was a big storyline too, and they come in and struggle. But how's it going to work? Because you'll meet with the coaches probably Thursday, I guess, and they'll probably tip you off in terms of what the plan is at quarterback. Are they usually good about doing that, or do they sometimes keep that from you guys? Or I know you obviously can't say anything until the game, but there's a lot of times where we find out stuff, on the broadcast that the coaches told you the night before. What's kind of the give and take like there?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had one of these meetings with Avilo specifically yet because this is my first Boise State football game, and didn't have any games where he was like a defensive coordinator at Oregon or Boise State either. So I don't know how forthcoming or how guarded he will be. That's the thing. Like if Boise State was coming off of a big win, coaching staff's probably more open, less guarded. That's the natural thing. So I don't know. I don't know what he'll say. Experience with other coaches. Yeah, sometimes they'll give you a lean of like, hey, I know that we're having a competition or whatever, but the first snaps will be this guy. We'll take the first snaps and then we'll see how it goes. Or sometimes you'll get a heads up on, hey, we know on the depth chart it says like this guy's playing left tackle, but he's didn't make the trip or he's not healthy enough to play in this game and we want to save him for the next week. So you'll get little tips like that you'll save until kickoff. Again, those things are confidential between the broadcast team and the coaches on each side. So you keep that trust within them, and you have it for your information. So you don't have in your open, let's say, hey, we're going to talk about this player, this superstar wide receiver, and then you'll learn that the wide receiver didn't even make the trip, and now you're without an open, right? So there's some I guess courtesy that goes along with having the TV call that you don't want to jeopardize the relationship, but you do want to get that information.
So what's your schedule with CBS Sports Network like, or what's your kind of fall look like? Are you just doing Friday night games or just different games every week or here and there or what?
No, I mean, the way the schedule works now, this is my last weekday game. So I had the Saturday to open the season, week 0, Idaho State, UNLV, a blowout. Then I had UAB hosting Alabama A&M on that was a Thursday. That was a blowout. This game's on a Friday. Will it be a blowout?
Boise State fans hoping the trend continues there, I'll tell you that, yeah.
But maybe we were hoping for a close game to build the drama. There isn't a busy slate on this Friday, so a lot of eyes could be on this game. But the rest of it is Saturday games, and most of it, like I have a game pretty much every week. I think there's like 1 or 2 weeks where I don't have one, but I'm really lucky to have a full slate of games with CBS Sports Network this year. Still have a game on the docket with NBC Sports as well, the Bayou Classic at the end of the year, Southern versus Grambling, which will air on NBC. So still hyped to be on the schedule for that one as well. But I'm thankful for CBS Sports Network giving me a lot of games this year. So it's a big opportunity for me. So,
any more BSU ones?
Grinding away on the prep. Not as of now. And I don't know how things can change. I know with Boise State, all their home games are scheduled for Fox, except I think one on national TV, CBS, the big network. So, when the home games are on Fox, it's a little bit tougher to wiggle your way in there. But we'll see. There's always things that can change.
Well, Chris, really happy for you, man. Congratulations. You keep moving up, but just don't forget about us little guys here in Boise and your fans in Bronco Nation land with all the success you're having. It's really cool, and I know folks are excited to hear you on the call. And like I said, sad I'm going to miss it live, but I'll make sure I go back and listen to the broadcast. And best of luck with the game Friday and with everything moving forward. And hopefully we can catch up again soon, man.
Appreciate it. I'll still be around, and I'll still be on the call for some soccer and volleyball games and women's basketball too. So still around, still in town too. So
we can't get rid of him just yet. We can't get rid of him just yet. Chris Lewis, appreciate it, man. That'll do it. Bronco Nation News special edition here on the YouTube channel. Check out BroncoNationNews.com for all your Boise State coverage. And don't miss Chris on the call, 7 o'clock Friday, CBS Sports Network with Danny Cannell, Boise State at New Mexico. Have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.